Okay, we're going to be going over Lab 1 as part of the Microsoft Official Academic Course Lab Manual, installing and configuring Windows 10 in preparation for exam 70-698. In the last couple of videos, we've walked through all the setup to get ready for this point, so now we actually get started. Woohoo! So I'm going to go into my HyperV. And you'll see all of my machines are turned off. Now, I'm going to have to use one of the Windows 10 machines, so I'm going to go into CL3. And my virtual switch manager, you'll see I have an internal switch I created. There's a private network 1, private network 2, and an external switch. What I'm going to do is on CL3 is just make sure I've added the CL3 so I can, connect with my live machine if necessary. I may not even need it. So right now I have just a private network 1, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Add Hardware, Network Adapter, Add Internal Switch, and then OK. Now, what I'd like to do is show the topology of exactly what we have right now, to give those of you who are more visual learners a real visual of what's going on if we were in the real world. So I'm using the Cisco packet tracer to kind of demonstrate what exactly we're set up as. So we have our 4 servers. This is going to be our domain controller. And we have server 1, server 2, and this is listed as the RTR. And then we have 4 devices all set up as Windows 10 Enterprise. And we have this is the first private switch. I know it's hard to see because of all the writing, but that's what this is. And this is the second private switch. I've created an internal switch. This is my live machine, and this is the external switch if we need to use it, since that's what I actually have set up on HyperV. Now, it's hard to show because I don't think I have the right ports. But this private switch is also connected. Private switch 2 is actually connected to this device as well. So this device, this device is connected to both the private switch 1 and private switch 2. Where's the DNC? The domain controller, which is this, is actually connected to multiple switches as well. It's connected right now to private switch 1 plus the internal switch plus the external switch. And that's not really shown on this, but I don't want to spend any time getting this set up, but I wanted to give you guys an idea of what it is that we're looking for from the topology standpoint. Go ahead and close this. So exercise 1 is preparing for installation requirements. There are 3 objectives to this lab. The first is to create installation media. The second is to determine hardware requirements and compatibility. And the third is to choose between upgrade and a clean installation. So the first lab wants us to create a Windows 10 installation media. So this is the site you're going to go to download that file. And I went ahead and I put it on my live machine. I also have put it on a USB. So I've already put it here. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it from here because I'm not going to need it. So I have it on my USB that's labeled LexRD. Now the next thing I'm going to do, close out of this, is that when I go into my HyperV and my CL3, again, I just want to make sure I have it set up for an internal switch as well. And I do. And again, the internal switch is just so I can communicate with my live machine. Turn that on. Okay, now I haven't done anything else yet. All I did was turn it on, and it gives me this connect to LAN CL3 dialog. I want to go ahead and I want to make it large, but I also want to show other options. When I do that, it gives me this other tab, local resources. Well, this is going to be important. So I click on local resources, and I want to click on more. And when I expand drives, you're going to see I have the option to choose my USB drive. I need access to my USB drive for this. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK, and then connect. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and log in. And you'll notice I didn't log into the domain, I'm just logging into the machine. I don't need the domain to do this part. Okay, now what I'm going to do is click on my Windows Explorer. This PC, and I should see. Why don't I see it? Go ahead and turn this on. I'm going to go ahead and put a folder on here. Okay, let's try this. I'll minimize this. Okay, so I created a shared folder, but now I actually need to share it. So I'm going to go into Properties, Sharing, Advanced Sharing, share this folder, Permissions, Full Control, and then OK, and then OK, and then Close. As soon as I did that, I was able to see that device on my live machine.
You died. Hey!
And we're just going to do administrator or admin and then password. Oops. Again, watch the domain. And then we're going to do datum.com.
I check you and you're not dirty enough to pull the truth, then it's fine. But if I check in your line speed, you're butt back and you're not going to get me until you go poop. You understand me?
Okay, there's the shared. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this onto here. And then close out of this. Go back to here. It should be here, and it is. Now if I double click, do you want to look? Yes. I can go and close this. Okay, we're going to have to download stuff. Let's go ahead and do OK. So I'll delete this, close this, go here. Okay, we're going to do create installation media, and then next, English, Windows 10, that's fine. And then we'll go ahead and do next. We want to do a USB flash drive. Okay, it's actually saying ISO, so we'll go ahead and do an ISO. Next, the file should be here and here. Save. Okay, let's try this again. We're going to do the ISO and then next. And then I'm going to put it right here, Windows Media File, and save. Now, when we're actually preparing for a Windows 10 installation, there are 3 questions we have to ask. 1, what is the computer going to be used for? Next, what type of environment will the computer run in? And third, how does the computer need to be portable? There are different form factors we need to look at, whether it's a desktop, a laptop, a tablet, a hybrid, or even a smartphone, because we see Windows 10 in each of those. When we're looking at the hardware requirements and compatibility, these are the minimum requirements. For a processor, 1 gigahertz or faster, RAM, 1 gigabyte for 32-bit or 2 gigabit for 64-bit. Hard disk space should be a minimum of 16 gig for 32-bit or 20 gig for a 64-bit operating system. The graphics card is also very important. You need to have a minimum of a DirectX 9 or later with a WDDM 1.0 driver. And display, again, should be a minimum of 800 by 600. Now, when you're choosing between an upgrade and a clean installation, when you have a clean installation, that's when we have no operating system, or you have an operating system and you basically want to start from a fresh drive, basically. This is good, especially if you are changing out updating host computers from a former employee to a new employee, and you want to make sure they have a nice, efficient machine without any other downloads that may have been on there from previous, and so on. So the advantage to a clean installation is basically you get a start over, a fresh start. Now you can also upgrade, and this is good if you currently have an older version of Windows, whether it's 7 or 8, 8.1, you can upgrade to Windows 10 without losing any of your documents. Now the problem with the upgrade installation is that, and I actually saw this during the automatic upgrade that Microsoft did, was it last year or so, when they were trying to get everybody to upgrade from their current version to Windows 10, they were offering a free Windows 10, is that you may have other software, proprietary or whatever, that may not be compatible with Windows 10. So before you complete any upgrade, make sure you have tested it on a virtual machine to ensure that everything is going to work properly. Now there are different editions of Windows 10. You have Home, Pro, Enterprise, and Education, and you're going to see a lot of differences between these. During the setup, I noticed a lot of difference between the Enterprise and the Education. I work primarily with the Education version, so working with the Enterprise, it was a big difference for me. Things weren't quite where they were in Education, so I had to struggle to find everything in Enterprise, especially the system screen. And the network screen. Some of the features that we're going to see in Windows 10 include your App Locker, BitLocker, your Client HyperV, your Group Policy Management, and even your Windows To Go, although Windows To Go has been available since, I believe, Windows 8. Windows 10 platforms, you have the IA32. This is designed to run on systems with the 32-bit x86 processor. You can only access up to 4 gigabit of memory. The x86-64, this is designed to run on the faster processors. Windows 10 can support up to 128 gigabit of memory, whereas the other desktop editions can only support up to 2048. When you're trying to determine the requirements for particular features, you want to look at speech recognition. You're going to need a high fidelity microphone and a driver. The Windows Hello, which we're going to be getting into a little bit, is specialized illuminated infrared camera or a fingerprint reader that supports Windows biometric framework. The touch is going to be used like a tablet monitor that supports multi-touch, and the Wi-Fi Direct printing, where you need a Wi-Fi adapter that supports the Wi-Fi Direct and a device that supports Wi-Fi Direct printing. When you're determining and creating appropriate installation media, you need to determine if your devices are going to have access to a DVD or only access to a USB. Windows 10 can be installed from either. You can connect and boot from a USB device and use the Windows 10 Media Creation Tool to create a copy of the Windows 10 ISO file. So this is what we've already done, only we did this for a CD. But if you do it on a flash drive, you can actually make the flash drive bootable as well as the CD. And these were just the steps we've already gone through. So let's see where we're at with our installation. It's still working. So I'll put it on pause while we wait for this to finish. Alright, so another way you can do this, besides doing the ISO and the Windows 10 tool, is on my machine. I actually have USB 7. I have this Windows 7 USB DVD download tool, and what I did is I just clicked on Browse and I found my ISO. I click on Next, and I'm going to put it on a USB device, and it already sees my one USB, so I'm going to go ahead and begin copying. And that's going to make this USB a boot up, or bootable. And even though it does say Windows 7, I've used it for Windows 7, Windows 8, 8.1, and yes, even Windows 10. A very handy device, or app. And that took less than 3 minutes. I didn't have to worry about downloading it or anything. I already had the ISO, and I simply attached the ISO, and it made a bootable device for me on the USB. Now I'll go ahead and close. And if I scroll down, you'll see my bootable device right here. Okay, and that is the end of this video. The next video we will be going over Lab 2, which is going to be installing Windows 10.